recorded. This training is for the purpose of the benefit of Coldwell Banker George Realty agents only. If you are a guest, welcome to use the information, but make sure that you clear with your lawyer, with your accountant, everything that I say. It's just my personal comments. I'm Cesar Aviles. I'm the manager at Coldwell Banker George Realty in Alhambra, and we're always looking for agents to join our company. I believe on the picnic effect, the potluck effect. If a lot of people come in and they bring one dish at the end of the picnic, at the end of the potluck, everybody goes home with more food that they brought in. Don't ask me why, but that is true. Okay. So when everybody participates, everybody gets the benefit of the meeting. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. If for any reason you cannot see it, unmute yourself. I will make sure that everybody is mute. If you wanted to unmute yourself, just unmute yourself and speak up. If you cannot see the screen, let me know. But I'm going to go to the place, the first place that I wanted to show you. You go to your own browser, right? Okay, I'm going to a browser. I look for CRMLS login. My username is W71738. I'm pretty sure that some of you have an AR, some of you have a WS. That's your public ID number. When somebody asks you, what is your public ID number? That is your public ID number. Password. I have so many that sometimes I forget. This one should be the one. When you land in the, log in again. There we go. You have a lot of benefits. I know that if you are Arcadia member, you get the Arcadia logo here. If you're a Tri-County, you get Tri-County. If you're Citrus, you get Citrus over here. But don't be afraid. Usually it will be exactly the same way. This one will access your multiple listing service, okay? And this button will access your association. Now, all of these buttons over here are benefits. No charge to use any of this. Of course, Supra, you pay for having a Supra key. Showing time is what you use to set appointments. If you take a listing, people can go to showing time and digitally request an appointment. You can answer, you can cancel appointments, get instructions. So that's how you do it with showing times. RPR is a benefit of the National Association of Realtors, a lot of data. Rent spree, if you are clearing rental applications, you can use rent spree. Info packs, it's what do you call it? Statistical information. Lion Desk is a free client management CRM, clients relationship management. List Hub is where your listings are going to be distributed. The MLS Touch, I think everybody should have in your cell phone the MLS Touch. You go anywhere, you put an address, or you can you just put the map, just like in a Google map, and it will give you all the listings around the neighborhood. So it's very important. NAR Maybe Resources, you're a member of NAR, so this is a free way to do it. If you're looking for new houses, there's a new homes there. CRMLS Connect, CRMLS app, Cloud Streams, Cloud CMA. So this is free to use. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the my MLS. Oh, brother, I have a lot of people in the room. Hold on a second. What happened to all of these participants? I had so many people in the waiting room. I'm sorry. I'm letting you in late. That's the hard part about teaching and managing the screen. So After you are in this, you go to the multiple listing service, but let me log out and go to the MRMLS. So when you are here in the MRMLS, you would go to where it says education. Click on education and you would have, I hope I'm still, everybody's watching the screen. There is a lot of training that the California Realtors MLS does. The California Realtors MLS is the 5th largest multiple listing service in the United States. And there are virtual classes that you can sign up. So whatever I teach, I just teach the basics. You need to be the ones that go to all of these classes by yourself. There is the Association of Realtors. They do have trainings there. We are having a training on Monday. I requested a training, so they're going to be giving us all the update from CRMLS on Monday. Lunch and Learn. You have to pre-register. Your manager emailed that. You click on it and register. But what I wanted to show you is that there is videos on everything you want to learn. You know what I'm saying? How to do a quick search, how to use a speed bar, how to input and search for virtual open houses, how to email. So if you have a client that is looking for 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, you can create a search. Then you can put the email of your customers. And every time there is a listing that matches your customers, what they're looking for, boom, they get an email automatically. You don't even have to keep on searching property for them. If they say, I want to buy a house between 500 and 700, I want to buy it in Monterey Park, I want a 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. So you input that information. Every time a 3 bedroom, 2 bath between 500 and 700 gets listed, boom, your client receive an email. And you also can be CC on it if you set it up. So you do have to do that. I mean, I tell people you are a business within a business. You are the CEO of your company and you are the janitor of your company. So in everything in between. I mean, you are the advertising person. You are the, the agent, the salesperson, the waitress. You are everything. You're at the reception desk. You run your entire business yourself until you have enough money to hire an assistant to help you with your business, okay? But this is something that everybody should know, that there is a lot of training at the California Association of Realtors. The moment that you put, crmls.org, you land on this page. Before you sign in to go into the MLS, you will find this information, okay? Now, one of the things that I wanted to do today was the listing input forms. This is something that a lot of people don't understand. At Coldwell Banker George Realty, the agent is responsible to complete the entire form. The entire form gets printed, you fill it in, the seller has to sign it, and then that's the information that you send to the listing secretary for the listing secretary to use it. On the listing input forms, and I hope everybody's watching my screen, there are several forms, right? Listing input forms. And here we have them. They're in a PDF format. The residential, the registering a listing contract. If you are going to be doing one of those coming soon, your listing have to be registered with the MLS. Commercial sale listing input form. Change it to pending. There is a form. Okay. Residential lease. Manufacturing park. This is for a mobile home. Commercial lease form to put it up for lease. Active under contract status. When you get an escrow, the listing agent have to fill in this form, give to the listing secretary so they change the status. Residential income. It doesn't matter whether it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 100, 500 units. You're going to be doing the residential income. Land. You're going to be doing a land input. Business opportunity, which we are telling you, shy away from it. We do not take listing of business opportunities that are less than $100,000, and it should be at 10%, okay? Any less than that, don't take it. And it changed to close. If you want to notify the listing secretary, the listing coordinator that the property have closed escrow, you can use this form. But in the meantime, let me go to the residential form, okay? The residential form is the form that you need to fill in. And it is frustrating that when you go to the MLS and you're searching for something, you say, I cannot find it. Maybe it's because the listing agent forgot to say something. Maybe you're looking for a big driveway or for an RV parking, or you're looking for a family kitchen, and the listing agent forgot to put that into the description, then you cannot find it in the MLS, right? But this one talks about it. Required fields are denoted with a red asterisk. Of course, maybe you don't get it red. Maybe you get it just a little black because we use black and white forms. And you have to complete everything that is mandatory, right? So listing status, we need to put it active, right? So you put the property active. Then the basics, the listing price, right? You put the listing price. In the event that you're selling 2-3 listings together, then you have to either put yes or no. The listing price goes here, and then there is a low listing price. Some companies put a range of prices. I tell you not to, don't do that. The parcel number is a required item, right? County, Los Angeles, city, Alhambra, MLS area, we need to put the number of the MLS area. How do you find it? You go to another location to find it. Let me go back to that location. Right here, see, CRMLS alphabetical city list. It will give you this, right? All of the cities that are there in an area, every single one of these ones have an MLS number. Okay, so make sure that that you go there. Then you put the street number, 1611 South Garfield Avenue. So you need to check the box that says South. And then Garfield Avenue, no, put Avenue. So you put Garfield, then you click Avenue here with an X, okay? The street direction, sometimes they have a Avenue 31st North. This will be the next description of the street. If there is an apartment number, condo number, ABC or 3139, you have to put the unit number. See, this one is not a required field, right? But you need to identify the listing. State, I know we live in California and we need to put the state of the property is. Postal code, the zip code. Postal code is the same as zip code, 911. If you know that it has 4 digits, then you put the other for, oh, my internet is suffering. Country, United States, USA, if you wanted to do that. Directions, this one, if for example, you have to say north of the San Bernardino Freeway and we are east of Atlantic, right? So that will be the directions for going to Coldwell Banker George Realty Alhambra office. So it is a required item. Do not leave it blank. Sometimes you might be north of Huntington Drive, south of Colima, big streets. Usually that's what you're gonna do for people to be able to locate the property. I know that you guys are Google Maps and then you have GPS in your automobiles, but for old folks like us, then they always put the directions on how to get to a property. Is this land lease? If the land is lease or no, there's a yes or a no. Common interest, this has to do with planned unit developments, condominiums, right? So this information, you have to put that, check the box. The listing secretary have to be able to read it from your input, and they will be doing the same thing. Whatever you put on the form is what they are gonna be typing into the MLS computer. Structure type, look at this one, none, cabin, dock, duplex, hotel, motel, house, industrial, mixed use, quadruplex, warehouse. So you need to make sure that you put that into your, even though this is the residential, right, form, you need to be able to fill in that information, right? Sometimes there might be a duplex, even residential can be something, a duplex, house, okay, or mixed use, and you're listing just the house, the residential portion. They also talk about property subtype. Is this a single family home? Is it a condominium? Is it a townhouse? Is it manufactured on the land? Is it a cabin? Own your own? Is it a timeshare? loft, commercial. Make sure that you do that. Look at it. There could be a commercial residential mix, studio, a parking, duplex, quadruplex, triplex, boat slip. You know, people might sleep on their boat. Uh, 433 certified. This one has to do with, I believe, with energy efficiency. I'm not 100%. So if you do not know, find out, and it's a yes or a no. Year built, this information come from the county recorders or the city. New construction, if it's a brand new house, you have to put yes. The property year built, where did you get that information? I got it from the appraiser. I got it from an assessor. So I got it from the builder. It is estimated. So all this information that you put here about the year built, then you need to say, where did you get that information? Where is the source? How many bedrooms? How many baths are full? How many baths are 3/4? How many baths are half? And how many baths are 1/4? Us in the real estate business, we count a full bathroom, one that has a kitchen, a toilet, sink, shower, and tub. 4 elements, that makes it a full bathroom. If it only have a shower, sink, and toilet, that's a 3/4. If it has a sink and a toilet, that's a half. And if it only has a toilet, that's a 1/4. Or if it is one of those vanities, just a powder room, that could be a 1/4, right? You walk into a house, sometimes you only have a wash bowl and a coat rack. There is a 1/4, right? Some places do have, they build them that way. Living area, square footage, right? Or square meters if you happen to be in England, right? But this is in Los Angeles, so we use square feet. And how many number of units? This is in the event that you're selling a property in a condominium. There are 50 units in this condominium. There's 500 units in this planned unit development. Living area, where did you get that information? From the appraiser. So you need to check those boxes. The size of the lot, how many units, right? Is it by acres, or are you using square footage for the lot size? Where did you get that information? From the appraiser. I got it from plans, from public records. Oh, we did a survey on the property, and that the square footage is, 10,000 square feet lot. Garage spaces. How many garage spaces do you have? 3, 4, 5? Senior community. Is this in a senior complex? Yes or no? Homeowners association. Yes or no? So this information needs to be completed by you. You need to ask these questions to the seller to help you with all this information. The page number 2, it talks about, would you consider a property for lease? You put a property for sale, but if it doesn't sell, will the seller lease it? Yes or no? In my book, no. We want to sell it. How many levels is this property? 1 level, 2 level, 3 level, multi-split? How many stories? 1 story, 2 story, okay? Sometimes you might have a split level house in some parts of California. Those are, you enter here and then you go down just a little bit, like a half level. So that will be a double level. Stories will be 1 floor. Then you need to go to the steps, another floor. So it's very confusing, for some of us that speak another language. How many levels, right? 1 level, 2 level. I would have said 2 story, but there are 2 different things, right? Entry location. Where is the entry location? In the back, in the front. So make sure that you put it in there. Entry level, you might enter to the second. So a house that is on a hill, sometimes maybe you enter on this level and then it goes down. So entry level, second floor, I don't know. Special listing. Is this a standard listing? Is there a notice of default? Look at it. There's so many things that you need to know. And the more you learn, the better you're going to be. Is it owned by Housing and Urban Development? Is it a short sale, probate listing? If you do not know some of these descriptions, look them up, put them on Google. What does this mean, right? This is an auction, bankruptcy property. Is it a trust? Is it a conservatorship, right? So here is where you need to fill in whether the property needs a court confirmation, right? Court confirmation is required. You got to check the box. So that way the other agents know that they need to go to court to confirm their sale. Public remarks. This is what is going to be a description of the property. you know, beautiful, amazing, lovely, you know, open floor, all the descriptions that you want to use for to make sure that the people get attracted. People, you know, close to schools in a great neighborhood. I mean, you have to be careful not to discriminate, not to use language that will be perceived as discriminatory. Okay, so make sure that you describe the property, not and then the neighborhood as well. You know, but make sure that you do follow up the fair housing guidelines. Exclusions, you can put them right here, right? So I'm gonna say the house is beautifully, it has a outdoor kitchen, and then you can say here, the beer refrigerator does not include it, right? So whatever, the barbecue is not included in the sale price. Or you're including everything and you said the flat screen TV in the patio, the 75 screen TV in the patio so we can watch the games. It's included, it's part of the sale. So make sure that you write it here so there's no discrepancy and no problems in the middle of the escrow. If you are having a virtual tour, you will input it right here. Make sure that do not put a branded. Branded means anything that has your name and your phone number or your company name and your number. You're not advertising you, you're advertising just the property, okay? So, you know, no agent broker information and no agent information. That will be for a virtual tour. If you have two, you know, if you are doing the Matterport, you know, those 3D virtual tours, this is where we get the URL, input it in there. Make sure that it's copy, or you can always email it. So if you have to copy and email it to the listing secretary, the listing coordinator, you can do that. Syndication remarks, okay, and branded virtual tour. So if you have a branded tour that you want to do with your sign and say, hi, my name is Cesar Aviles, and I'm, you know, inviting you to take a look at this house. It's a beautiful 3-bedroom, 2-bath overlooking the San Gabriel Mountains. And today they're beautiful because there's snow on the top of it. Whatever you want to do branded, it's going to go over here. And you can say, call me at 626-757-5550. And you do all of the advertising you want. You deserve it. It's your listing. You work hard. You convince the seller to list the property with you. Therefore, you can do it, but you have to do it in the right location, right? This one is also a virtual tour branded. This one you can put Coldwell Banker. You can film yourself. You can, you know, film a party. I saw a video from somebody that had almost like an open house party, wine, cheese, and it was very interesting to do that. All right. So that would be the end of page 2. The end, page 3, 4, 5 is just like checking boxes. The more boxes that you checked, the better off that you're gonna be. Make sure that the boxes that you're checking, the property has. This is the cheapest advertising. I know that a lot of people say, I want to put my property in the paper. I want to put my property on a website and pay for Google ads and Facebook ads. This is where you need to put more important. What does the property has? Does the property has block walls, brick walls, built-in features? They're talking about the interior features of the property, right? So you fill in this information to the best of your ability. Take a look at it. Does it have a dry bar? Does it have a dumb waiter? What the hell is a dumb waiter? I can see a dumb manager here, but a dumb waiter, I don't know. Electronic air cleaner, right? So people are putting stuff in their homes now that increase value to the property. Look at this one. Does the property has an elevator? Formica counters, furnished, granite countertops, high ceilings, home automation system, a lot of electronics, intercom system, laminate counter, living room balcony, I mean, partially furnished, phone system, pull down stairs to the attic. Sometimes there is those stairs that you just pull it down and it has a stair and you can go to the attic. Stone counters, storage, sump pump, suspended ceilings, tandem, tile counter. The more of this that you get to learn, the more that you go, when you take a look at a house, you say, oh, this property has air conditioning. Look at it, cooling. Cooling is a mandatory. Everything that has a little asterisk is a mandatory. The ones that doesn't have it is not mandatory, yet you need to tell people whether the property has a heater, right? As a heater, gravity heater, space heater, radiant heater, okay? Kerosene, I don't think they use those anymore, but who knows? Wood heater, solar heater, Energy Star if you wanted to do that, right? So there is so much stuff that needs to be filled in. Does the property has a basement, right? Yes, unfinished, finished. Is that a utility? Appliances. Does the property have a 6-burner stove, convection oven, double oven, electric range, gas or electric range? Learn to describe this. This sets you apart. The sellers think that all real estate people are the same, and we're not the same. If you learn yourself things about a property, and when you walked in, you make a comment to the seller, wow, you have a water heater, right? Everybody knows of. You have a tankless water heater. You have a, gas and electric range, high efficiency water heater, all of this information, or ask them. Start asking them. Some people are very proud of their home and they want to make sure that the agent that they're using understand what they're selling, and they have a perceived sense of, wow, my house has custom Home Depot light fixtures. No, no, no. Home Depot are not custom light fixtures. They're run of the mill. But you got to understand that somebody might have gone to, Lamp Plus, and they got one of those big fancy chandeliers, crystal chandeliers, then you put it up and you say, wow, this one got to be worth some money or whatever. You got to be making conversations when you fill in this information for the seller. Remember the script. Can I take a quick look at your home? Can I take a quick look at your home? And then you go around taking a look at the home and inspecting. This is the time that you got to do your agent visual inspection disclosure. Yourself got to be taking a look at the house. Pay attention, walk around, ask questions, look at the windows, open the cabinets. That's part of the showtime when you're in a listing presentation, right? Bathroom features, right? Double sink, dual shower heads, right? Some people have steam showers, a jetted tub, you don't call it jacuzzi tub, right? Because jacuzzi is a brand, but it's like remodel. Some people remodel bathrooms. You're selling houses that are old in the 1920s and 30s and 40s around our neighborhood, yet the kitchens and the bathrooms are being remodeled in the 1960s, in the 80s, in the 90s. Some of them were just remodeled last year. So make sure that you fill in this information. Laundry. My daughter will not move to a house that has the laundry in the garage. She wants it inside because she wants to do laundry while she's in pajamas watching television, right? So that is one of the things that people say, I want inside laundry. And then when you're showing the house, the laundry is in the garage, detached garage. Then you look bad about it, right? See, in the carport, in the closet, in the garage, in the kitchen. So you need to fill this information. The more clear you are describing the property, the better you're gonna be. Look at this one about the floors. It's the floor bamboo, brick, carpet, concrete, laminate, stone, tile, vinyl. Whether the utilities are gas, electric. There are some properties, I think it's here in Alhambra, one property that is all electric, and it was built like in the 1950s when everything was going to be electric. And then electricity went up in price, and all of a sudden they went back to natural gas, right? The same thing that might happen in Texas, right? They're going wind and solar, and then that gets frozen. They need to have oil to burn. But anyway, this is whether there's water, sewers, electricity. Ask these questions. Does it have 220 volts, right? For the spa, for the air conditioning. Some people have a workstation in the garage. Maybe they do have 220. What kind of rooms they have? Do they have a den? Do they have a dressing area? Exercise room, family room. Now it's very important that you describe it, because sometimes some of these rooms, bonus rooms, can be used for, offices. You know, a lot of people are going to be working from home from the rest of their life. Therefore, they're looking for a little den, a little office. So those little rooms, additionals, storage rooms can be converted to offices, and people are going to be looking for that. And if they look in the MLS for that type of thing, and you forgot to put it in, and your listing has it, there he goes. You did not fill in correctly. You're doing a disservice to your customer. All righty. So pool, patio, porches, view. What kind of view is on the property, right? Construction materials, right? Fill it in. Some people don't want to have a fiberglass sliding or whatever outside. Plaster. This is very important when somebody is listing a property, right? If you are a first-class real estate agent, I like to charge 5, 6, 7% if I can, 10 if I can. My services are pristine, white gloves. When I go to the seller, I tell the seller, look at it, Mr. Seller, I'm going to put your property in LA Times. I'm going to put your property in Chinese newspapers. I'm going to put your property at realtor.com. I'm going to put your property at coldwellbanker.com. I'm going to put your property on Google. I'm going to put your property on Facebook. I'm going to do all this for you. And you're going to pay me what? No, you pay me what I'm worth. Your property will sell for more because I am going to advertise it. I'm going to work my butt off. I'm going to call all the neighbors. I'm going to fill in this form to the best of my ability and make sure that 39,000 other real estate agents can read about your house. That's how you sell being a top listing agent. Are there common walls? If you are in a condominium, a lot of people don't want somebody on top of them, one wall, two walls, floor down. You know, if you're in a condominium that has somebody on the front, somebody on the back, somebody on the side, you need to tell them. That way they don't waste their time. They don't waste your time to show it, right? So there's a lot of stuff about the roof. There's a lot of stuff about the lot. There's a lot of stuff about community features, foundations. This is foundations for the property, right? What condition is the property in? Are there additions and alterations? Building permits, right? This is where you have to check. There's no building permits or there is building permit. Is this a fixer? Is there some repairs that are needed, right? So if I am looking for a house that needs no repairs, then I turnkey and I click at turnkey. Don't put turnkey on a dog house that you're gonna be selling, you know, that needs a lot of painting and fixing, right? Or if the property is under construction, right? Updated, remodel. All of that information should be checked in according to that property. Other structures, right? Is there an airplane hangar on the property, right? You never know. Aviary, people that like birds, right? They need to have a big bird cage in the patio, right? A barn to put the chickens, right? A gazebo, greenhouse, guest houses, you know, workshop. This workshop can be converted to an office, maybe quiet room, tennis courts. All of this information needs to be filled in, right? Parking, look at this one. Main level bedrooms, how many bedrooms in the main level? Maybe they have parents that they don't want it to go up. Main level bathrooms, attached garage, right? As I told you, my daughter doesn't like to be on a detached garage. She wants it attached. She drives in and then she's inside the house, right? Number of remote controls, any carport spaces, RV parking. I'm looking for RV parking. Is it facing east, northwest? You know, some of the people that have a feng shui, they want to be facing, you know, to the right direction, to the right crystals. I don't know. Put that information in the listing information. Look at this one, parking, so much, driveway, garage. I mean, the list is endless. And all of these pages, we're only on page number 7 of 12 of the listing input form. And you say, Caesar, well, I'm just gonna go and get the listing. Yes, go get the listing. But when the people say, how much do you charge? You say, listen, look how much I have to do. So I gotta earn my money. If you're just gonna be there and just take a listing and do nothing, they think, what? I'm gonna pay this guy $40,000 and he didn't even fill in the form correctly? That's the reason why they don't want to pay you your fee. But if you know that you know, and you tell them that you know, they hire you because they do not know what you know. Very interesting, right? That's a tongue twister. Remember to put the tax area, the zoning, the track number. Where do I get this information? I get this information from a property profile. Where do I get a property profile? From my friend title company. You know, you could have Paula, you can have Angie, you can have Nancy. There is so many title officers that are looking to help you because they want the business. Use them, but then give them the business. Don't just take advantage of them. You know, they can give you farm areas to look for business, but also once you get the business, give it to them. All of this information, association, how much does it cost, the association name, the seller should have this information every month. If they're living a condominium, they got to make a payment. They can just get your last statement. Can I get your last statement from your homeowners association? They go, they get it, they show it to you, and you get this information, phone numbers, management name. Now, if there is a homeowners association, the amenities, what comes with the association? Barbecue, picnic area, jogging track, gym, exercise room, maintenance, insurance. Does the association covers the water? Does it cover the cable TV? Some associations, it's a bundle. You know, they even have a social room, a swimming pool, spa that is included with the monthly fees. Don't just say, oh, it costs $300 for association dues. I'm not gonna see it. Well, it's probably gonna cost you $300 to pay for your own gardener, to pay for your own pool guide, to pay for your own, you know, bug, to pay for insurance. I don't know. So think about it, right? When you're in a condominium, these are expenses that are shared among all the people. Always find out what you're paying and what you're getting back for that money, okay? Don't just discount it just because the association is $1,000, but it comes with a butler. When you park your car, they drive it to the parking lot, or they help you with the groceries, right? Like you see in those big cities, New York, Chicago, that there is a doorman, right? A security guard. It's included in the homeowners association. It's fill it in, what's included, right? High school, schools, a lot of people are looking for school. And if you don't fill it in, then you're not selling the property the right way. A lot of people like to be in Arcadia schools, San Marino schools, Gabrielino schools, or I want to go to Mark Keppel. I want to go. No, I wasn't going to go there. I'm just kidding. Whatever it is, fill in the high school. You know, El Monte Unified School District. By the way, I know so many good kids that go to Rosemead High School, right? And they got to go to Harvard. It doesn't matter whether they're in San Marino. It's got to be the parents that encourage the people how to go and study. It's not the high school. But anyway, there is more information here about the description of the land. And then the office MLS. This is something, do you want to sign on the property? Yes. Is the listing a full service, right? Full service. We are a full service real estate company. We don't do limited service. The listing agreement, it is an exclusive right to sell, always. We do not take any other kind of listing, only exclusive right to sell. All of the other ones, net listing, seller's reserve, we don't do that. Coldwell Banker George Realty does not do any other type of listing than exclusive right to sell. And we should have, the minimum is 90 days. We strive to take listings for 4, 5, 6 months. Yes, if somebody comes and say, I'm gonna give you a listing for, 2 months, you said, I'm sorry. My company minimum is 90 days. Why? Because it's gonna take you marketing time, escrow time, and closing time, and the listing has to be alive while so that way I can earn my commission, all right? So we used to say 6 months, 6%. Don't just be square. It is a negotiable item. If you have a question, feel free to reach out to Lori. Feel free to reach out to Doug and Peter, myself. We will help you get that listing, okay? And we will coach you and help you get as much money as you can possibly get. So all this information, showing instructions, very important. Who's gonna be there? The occupant, the owner, the property manager. What is the phone number to call if I wanted to show the property, right? Who is going to be there? The owner, the tenant, or is the property vacant? What's the owner's name? You can just put a last name and it's okay. Mr. Seller is there, and you know, Mrs. Seller, you're there, and you can just put that in the information. Showing instructions, right? Here is what you got to put. Please do not show the property at 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't know, whatever you want to put in this information, fill it in. If you're putting a lockbox, where are you putting the lockbox? On the front door, on the water pipe, on the fence, and what kind of lockbox is, right? We put Supra on all of our listings, electronic. Do not put combination, because somebody can get the combination, somebody can get the key, go into the house, and you do not know who was the last person that went into the house. Everybody has the combination. You gotta use a Supra that makes a record, a digital record of who opens, when do they open, when do they close it. So use an electronic lockbox. And that's how you tell the sellers, Mr. Seller, I'm gonna be every agent that shows the property with the lockbox, I get an email, and then I can get a feedback of what they think about the house, right? So fill in that information. The same thing goes with, how do you wanna contact the agent? By cell phone, by direct phone, by email, by fax, by text message. So you put your information here. Now, one of the things that we have is that the information that goes into here is whatever information you have registered at the multiple listing service. Some of you joined the association a long time ago and you have not updated your information. Now you give me a new number and say, Cesar, put this on my listing. We cannot change it. When we put here, get the agent's phone, they're gonna be the one that you have registered at the Board of Realtors. So when was the last time you updated that information at the Board of Realtors? So call them and say, what is my, or better yet, you can go to the CRMLS, look for you, find yourself, and look what kind of information is there for you. Some of you don't even have a photo. Some of you don't even have a number. Some of you don't even have a fax or anything, an email, a text, or an old AOL email. That's what you have. So make sure that you update it at the Board of Realtors, right? The office MLS, so you put your MLS W71738 will be mine, my phone number. If you do have one of those approved MLS photographers, you can put the information right here. If you want the people to send you offers by mail to a different location, by email, you put the email that you want the offers at cesaraviles.com. You gotta put your license number, right? The listing. And this is the information that is required. So when you sell the property, when somebody writes an offer on your listing, this license is what they're gonna be getting into the purchase agreement, right? And then it comes up to a certification that this is a green property. If you are selling a green building, make sure that you check the proper and make sure that you have a verification rating. It has to be a document from a green approved company. So make sure that you do that. And if your house was green back in 1970, it's not green anymore. It's brown. So no, I'm just kidding. Make sure that if you put the year, this tells you that back then, an energy efficient home is not the same thing as today, energy efficient property, okay? Production. Sometimes you might have an electric power plant, right? I have a Tesla battery in my house. I have two. As a matter of fact, we were selling a property and this guy want to make sure that we tell the buyers that he has a Tesla battery with a backup Tesla battery. So he has two batteries. So he can live in his house 72 hours without sun, without rain, without wind, without everything. He has energy to live in this house for 72 hours. That was important to him. So make sure that as a listing agent, you put that in there because that makes him happy. And somebody out there that is looking for a bunker in case there is a war and he wants 72 hours worth of electricity, then he will be buying this house. It doesn't matter whether the property has a kitchen or a bedroom. He just wants to make sure that he has energy. Okay. Page 11, of course, you have to have information who will be if you are going to be doing open houses, so you put here the date of the open houses, open house number 1 on a Saturday, open house number 2 the following Sunday, open house number 3 a month from now. By the way, when I was a real estate agent, I would not do more than 1 open house every month. Today's, we're still in the purple. When the governor decide that we can do open houses, that's when we are going to be doing open houses. Make sure that you schedule open houses the moment they give us permission, because there will be a lot of people looking at homes and there will be opportunities to make money. Okay, this one is page 11. It talks about the open houses, and then on page 12 it has your information, listing information. If you are co-listing, if I'm listing with Susan from the Arcadia office, I will put Susan's name and address over here. I will put Caesar's name and address and phone numbers and my license over here. I will put Susan's license over here. And there is no buyer's agent information because we don't have it, right? And then the signatures, agent signature, seller signature. We do not use the broker signature. We use the agent. So in the event that there is an agent, you guys are signing on behalf of Coldwell Banker George Realty, because all listings are subject to management approval. Make sure that the sellers initial every page, and make sure that you guys initial every page. Right at the bottom of every page, there is initials for you, initials for the seller. Every page needs to be initial in a way that the seller is aware of what we are putting out to the world about his property. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing and I'm gonna go and see if there is any questions. All right. Good morning, Coldwell Banker George Realty agents. I hope you guys are awake and I did not bore you filling out a very extensive form that half of us don't even understand what it has, right? So any questions so far?
I have this form that I printed is different than what you showed.
The printed form is different than what I show. Yeah. Okay.
I printed it from the package that comes with the selling and buying.
I kind of thought that somebody was gonna catch that, but I am gonna go to the form. Hold on a second, right? I'm going to, whoops. Okay, I am gonna share and I'm gonna go to the form again, because I'm gonna tell you something. The one that is in the package, I just saw the date. This one is a new one that has a date on the bottom. See, updated, look at this.
Oh.
Do you see the update?
The other day.
Okay, so the form that we have in our package is out of date. Guess what? I have to download this form, upload it into the form, and I apologize that the form is not updated. Thank you.
Yeah, I did a couple of weeks ago. That's why I thought maybe something happened.
No. I am going to download it, right? Because I need to input all of the forms, because if they review, see, this is what happened when we have these updates. The forms get updated, you know. The forms get updated so often, and it's hard to pick up. And unless you guys tell me, sometimes I have no way of knowing. But thank you very much for pointing it out.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Cesar, I have a question, me, Oscar.
Yes.
You know, when you're looking at the MLS, on the left-hand side, where it says land, lease, will you put yes or no?
Well, yes. Let's say that you are in Palm Springs area where there's Indian land. Then some of the areas are leased areas.
Yeah, you know, the reason why I bring it up is because I had a client that wanted to buy a townhome. I think it was in Irvine.
Yes.
And the townhome was cheaper than the other ones, but it's because they had to renew the lease.
Correct.
So, you know, where do we find that information to make sure that if you're selling a townhome, it's not on a lease? I mean, that you own the land too, not that is not lease.
What did I say about getting friendly with your title rep?
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
And then you tell the title rep, give me a property profile. And the property profile probably will have there that the property is not a fee, you know, a fee simple. It will say leasehold.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
And
because you know the reason why the townhome was so cheap is because the lease was coming up in few years. You had to renew the lease.
correct.
You did not own the land.
Yeah, so
Mm.
sometimes they used to be like the Irvine Ranch or the Tejon Ranch. If you're driving around, somebody bought a piece of land and they decided to rent it out, and they say, okay, as long as I get this much money a month, I don't want to sell it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if I sell this piece of property, I'm gonna get taxed. So I'm gonna rent it out for 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
I rent the property, and then somebody says, well, if it's gonna be 50 years, let me rent the land I'm gonna build. I'm gonna sell this property to owners, and they're gonna make money. At the time when the lease is up, then the landlord of the land probably will renew the lease, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Just wanted to bring it up because sometimes we overlook that when we're showing townhomes.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
All right. Thank you, Cesar.
Especially if you are in the desert area, Beaumont, some of that area in the east, there might be some rental land.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Cesar.
Any other question on the form? Okay, so it took about an hour on that form alone. Print the form like Val will do. I will upload it. You can go to the California Association of Realtors. Remember, you go here, you go to the listing input forms, you get the residential. Oh, let me share. Hold on a second, right? Let me share my screen. That way you know exactly where I am. Okay, this is the form, right? And all the forms are about this one. So if you go to the California multiple listing area, matrix input forms right here, you can see the residential lease, the residential income. Now, if you click on the residential income, it's gonna be pretty much the same. And I'm doing it because I'm probably looking at the date. Look, this one was updated a couple of days ago, Val. Updated in March 9. So
Okay.
I'll make
Do
sure
it.
that this form is updated now. Okay, so I will put all of these forms into our packages, into the zip form version. But they are different. The one about residential income, it asks you probably about income. Look, it's gonna ask you how many units, right? And how much is the association? This one is, are there any, and they ask you also to do a financial analysis. And the financial analysis has a mandatory field. So you do have to type up what is the gross schedule income, right? And so if you have 4 units and every unit is $1,000, right? Then it's gonna be $4,000 a month. You multiply that by 12, so that will be $48,000 is the gross schedule income. That's what we wanna get. If one of the tenants don't pay, that's a different story, right? But we put the schedule income. That's what it is. And then we give a vacancy allocation, right? Usually big apartment buildings, they have an allocation of 3%, 5%. In today's market is pretty much filled in. A lot of the properties are almost 100% capacity. And then you have an operating expenses, the operating expenses, maintenance, utilities, management, all of that. You need to fill that information. If you do not have it, then you're not representing the seller well on the property, right? So you do have to have this information. If you don't fill it in, you're gonna lose this listing. The seller's gonna think that you're an idiot because you do not know how to do this information. If you do not know how to do this information, reach out to somebody and then look at it. If you look apartments, you have to put the unit, apartment A, 3 bedrooms, 2 bath. Is it furnished? Non-negotiable? Is the garage attached? Is there any? How much is the rent? Right? And a pro forma is what could be rented at. So you can put the pro forma at 5% or 3% higher than the actual rent because this is what the rent may be next year, right? The pro forma is what the rent could be. And so fill in the information. If you need more units, then you need to fill all this information for a residential income. So this one is for the residential. Look at that. And then this one will be for residential income. So every type of property has a different input form, right? The same thing when you're writing an offer, you're writing an offer on a residential, just for single home, condominium, right? Motorhomes. And then when you're writing the purchase agreement, you use the residential income purchase agreement, RIPA, because it talks about rentals, it talks about tenants. Don't use the same. I see so many mistakes sometimes, but sometimes it's just because the other agents in the other companies don't get the training that we try to teach you guys. And then they're crazy running out there without the proper knowledge of the real estate business. Okay. So thank you, Val, for bringing it up. If you notice, there is forms that are constantly updating. And that's the reason why I tell people, go to the sales meeting, because that's where we get this information among all of us, you know. So invite other people, talk to other agents, ask your manager, ask the office transaction coordinators. They will try to help you and get the information. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go. Yes.
Thank you.
All righty. I'm going to mute everybody again, and then I'm going to open up for questions. I'm going to go share my screen. I'm going to go to another, I'll close some of these, and I'm going to go to zip form plus. When I go to zip form plus, I use my first name, my last name, and my password. Everybody should have an account. This one is the broker version. If you go to the CAR version, the only thing that you're going to have over there is that you are not going to have the benefit of the templates. When I sign in, I come down into my, I verify that I'm a member of California Association of Realtors. Validate. I land on my transaction platform. Of course, guys, don't pay attention to this. Everybody's getting this. You got to skip it, right? It says happy anniversary. You need to renew. Coldwell Banker George Realty already renewed. So even though it says expires in 18 days, it's because we are renewing anyway. So skip the page. Now, when you land on your transaction page, you can see your transaction page by lines here. They're going to send you a lot of messages, a lot of advertising right here. If you don't like to see this address, and you want to see it in blocks, you click over here and it comes up in tiles. This is the way some of your desktop looks. If you want it this way, you have it line by line. It's the same thing. Right here is your...
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
But we do not see what you're doing because we're still on the advertisement from Zip Forms. It has a target and an arrow right, you know, that went into the bullseye, and it says free masterclass event. We cannot see what you're showing us.
Ah.
Now we can see it.
Now you can see get the facts. So yeah, but I am in a. Can you see this one?
It says get the facts.
Yeah.
Yes.
The meaning up to your TED game. Register now.
No, we just see a 01 in a box and it says Proposition 19 benefits.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Let me stop sharing. And then let me go back again to share my screen. And then let me go to where I'm supposed to show you there. Are we on my dashboard, forms, transactions?
Yes. No, we are.
Thank you, Oscar, for pointing it out. Okay, so what I was telling you is that you can, when you land on this page after you sign up for Zip Form, you can have this view or you can have the tile view like this. Some of you might have it this way and some of you might have it this way. And over here, you can group by status. I mean, my transactions, depending, you can select them yourself. So either way, it's okay with me. And you're gonna go here and create a new transaction. It's gonna be a new listing. And you have to put in always, 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 always an address. It's better to use an address than to use a name. I bumped into an agent that was using name, and he had, you know, Oscar Castrillon transactions, but he had like 20 Oscars open. And I said, which one is which one? So he needed to go and open each one to find out which address. So if you put an address, 345, you know, Garfield, then you will know that this transaction goes with that property on Garfield. If it gets accepted, fine. If it gets canceled, if it gets expired, there's only one 345 North Garfield, okay? So you're only gonna have one. This is gonna be a residential transaction. It's gonna be an active. I am the agent, and here I'm gonna select the template. When I select the template, I select the Coldwell Banker George Realty residential listing, right? That's the one that I'm going to apply. I apply this template, and this is the thing that you have to always be concerned. Apply the template, then when you go into the transaction, all of the forms are gonna be there for you. So we're gonna save this transaction. It's gonna open up over there. It's going to apply all the forms that Coldwell Banker George Realty requires, but it's also going to apply that template more forms. Like I explained before, the whole menu, you know, the soups, the salads, the dessert, the alcoholic drinks, the non-alcoholic drinks, the chicken, the beef, the fish, everything is in there, right? And I don't want it to have everything. So I am going to go straight to the transaction. So parties, this is who is involved in the transaction. Right now, it's only me. And then I'm gonna fill in the information for the seller. I put Sally. Some of you already know that Sally Seller is my best customer, right? I'm gonna just put save there so I can have Sally as the member. She's the seller. I'm the agent. I'm gonna move to documents. When I go to documents, I got all of the documents that are potential for this transaction, right? This one is, do I put a sign on the property, right? This is the one that I'm gonna send to the, I'm not gonna put a sign on the property. I don't need it. I can go here, sign on the property, and I will delete it, right? Delete, I don't want it, out of my files, right? This property is not in Los Angeles, so it doesn't need a Department of Los Angeles water compliance. I can go here and I'm gonna say, I do not want the Los Angeles that, and I delete it. A lot of the agents don't wanna do that. That's up to you. Then it's confusing. Use only the forms. This is just a whole package of the ones that are for the listing. So this is what we were talking about, the residential input form, right? And this was the old one that Val pointed out to us. So this one, the revision day is April of 2020. So they've done a new revision. I will make sure that by the end of the business day today, we will have the new one and all of the transactions, okay? I am gonna go to the listing agreement, and I'm going to go on some of the forms that are required around it. The agency, let me put a big one, full screen. This is the agency disclosure. Needs to be signed by the seller, needs to be signed by you, okay? The second one, fair housing discrimination advisory, need to be signed by the client, need to be signed by you, okay? And then when the buyer writes an offer, they're gonna have to have one of these ones on the purchase agreement, and they're gonna send it to you as a listing agent. And we have to have these forms in the company file on SkySlope, loaded on SkySlope within 24 hours of you signing the form. Please don't be lazy. Then the next form is called possible representation, more than one buyer or seller. It's a disclosure and a consent, and that needs to be signed by Sally, and it needs to be signed by me, the listing agent, right? Here is gonna be Caesar, the one signing. And of course, my license have to be written in there, okay? And Coldwell Banker license need to be written in there. 011211690, and then right? You got to put your license everywhere you do, your signature and every package that you do. Then this is wire fraud. So when somebody tells me, Caesar, I just want to get a listing, I'm going to take the listing, I want this package, it's a minimum that we need this package in order to put your listing into the MLS and the MLS input form. Yes, you can delay a little bit on giving me the TDS. Yes, you can delay on giving me the FERPTA. Yes, you can delay on giving me the statewide buyers and sellers advisory. But this one, we will not input the listing unless we have all of this preliminary package signed by Sally and signed by you in our files. So this is a listing agreement. I'm gonna go quick file it as if I am filling the form. At the end, I'm gonna ask you for questions. We're preparing this today, boom. It is a contract between Sally Seller and Coldwell Banker George Realty. The beginning date, we're gonna make it be starting on Monday, right, on the 15th, ending at 11:59 p.m. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's gonna end on July 31st, right? Exclusive right to sell. 345 Garfield in the city of Alhambra, County of Los Angeles. So I'm gonna put that information. California 91801, assessor's parcel number 0001-001-010. Make sure that you get this information from the property profile, right? If this is a model home, then you click the box. If this is a probate, conservatorship, guardianship, you have to click that box. If I click that box, there will be a new form added to my transaction. The listing price shall be, you know, we're gonna sell this property for $950,000. I put that information. Any listing terms, I fill them in there, right? Compensation to the broker, 6%. Let's say that they ask me for a discount. I am gonna do it for 5% here. So I delete the 5 and I delete the 6 and I put 5. I would leave it at 6. And when you get to the house of the people, then you could always cross it out with a pencil and pen, and then you say, I'll do it for 5. My manager is gonna be upset, but for you, I give you the discount and you sign it, okay? Within 180 days, this one you can, you could always change it to 90. You could always change it to 120, depending on how many days is your listing. I will put the same number of days over here. This only works if you are going to negotiate a transaction and you are giving the seller a letter, right? You give the seller, broker has given the seller a written notice of the names of the people. If you don't do this, if you don't plan on making a list of everybody that walked into the house and made a negotiation, this is meaningless, okay? So I just gonna tell you, right? The same thing is, this is pre-printed. The $295 is pre-printed. It is called a document compliance fee. It is an administration fee that Coldwell Banker George Realty wants to charge. And we charge this so we can pay for broker version of zip forms, so we can pay for SkySlope, so we can pay for some of these the digital signature expenses. We pay $10 per agent per month to have access to some of these programs. And we also want to do this $295 to keep the transaction in SkySlope for more than 3 years as a storage, right? So we do pay storage to have the transactions. It costs money to do that. If for any reason we do not collect this $295 and somebody wants copies of the file, it will cost you $295 for copies of the file. If the $295 was paid, we will give you a free copies of the file. It doesn't matter, 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, we will give you copies of your files, right? We keep them in SkySlope. We used to keep them in a storage room. Now we keep them electronically, right? So seller has been advised of broker policy regarding cooperation with other agents. This one is, we tell them, we put half of whatever we collect over here. We collect 5, we put 2.5, okay? I don't get upset if you collect 5 over here and you said, I am gonna pay the other agent, the selling agent, 2%, okay? You collect 3, meaning we collect 3, and the buyer's agent will collect 2, right? It's a seller's market, but in this way, I'm gonna do 2.5, and that is half and half, 50% of what we collect. So you tell the client, yes, I'm charging you 5, but I am paying the buyer's agent 2.5, right? Then Seller represent that the seller has no previously entered into a listing agreement with any other broker. Unless the seller owes money to somebody, then over here will go an agent company, right? They don't have to pay another company any money, so leave it blank. Page number 2, make sure that the date is there, make sure that the property address is there, and here we put what is items that are excluded. So we're gonna exclude the flat screen TV in patio, right? That is not included, but I'm gonna include, so you can say the barbecue, it's included, right? Barbecue in backyard, it's included, right? Goes with the house. Lease, remember we talk about solar power items. Solar power, maybe it's not owned by the owner. Alarm system, maybe it's owned by ADT. Propane tank, if you sell a house in Bakersfield, they use propane tank. Sometimes they don't use gas coming from a pipe, from the meter. Water softener, Cooligan man, right? So that thing, it is not owned by the seller. So if it is not owned by the seller cannot sell it to the buyer. Or if he has a loan, then you let the buyer know that they can assume it, right? There is a windows and doors. Everybody that calls you with solar system, solar power system, oh, you can rent it out, heating, we're gonna redo your house with a heater. Your house is gonna be worth more money and the buyer will pay for it. Don't do that. Those are those hero loans and all the hard sales people over there, right? Multiple listing service. You explain what the multiple listing service is to the seller, the form that we filled in, and then you tell them that we belong to California Regional Multiple Listing Service. Great. This property it is the primary MLS of the geographic area. If I was listing something in San Francisco, maybe CRMLS is not the primary MLS, okay? So then you need to tell the client that. There is a big box that requires the seller's initials and your initials, the agent's initials. This explain to the seller the benefits of putting the property in the MLS, okay? This is so there is not a lot of people out there taking listings and they just pocket listing. A listing that goes into the MLS sell for more money because it is exposure. Exposure is what gets the property more value because everybody in the world gets to know that this property in Alhambra is out for sale, okay? I am an MLS member, therefore we subscribe to the clear cooperation policy. Do not check that box, please. Public marketing within clear cooperation. This property is gonna be published and it is not gonna be in a coming soon status. We, Coldwell Banker George Realty, do not like this coming soon status because if you wanna use this, you are responsible in the event that somebody start complaining, oh, you double-ended it, you did it like this, and so we will get you to be the one in charge of paying the fine, okay? Seller instruct the broker. It may require a form, SELM. This SELM form needs to be signed by Lori, by Doug, or by me, authorizing the property not to go into the local MLS before you turn the listing to the listing coordinator, okay? This is if the property is going to be excluded from the MLS, a form is required and the manager needs to approve it, okay? And you put the date until when the property is gonna go in the market. Like for example, you can take a listing today and you said, I don't want the property to go into the market until the 20th, I mean the 19th, 1 week, because we're fixing the house, we're cleaning the house. So make sure that you do that and you clean that information, put the date, okay? Also, you can click here and you said the seller is instructing the broker not to market the property to the public. Sellers understand that no public marketing will occur on the property, okay? And it only will be one-on-one promotion between the broker and licenses affiliated. This is something that is only a Coldwell Banker listing. We're not gonna advertise it. We're not gonna tell the public, only internal. And you can do that. I think you're doing a disservice to the client, but in specific cases may happen, okay? This one is, in the event that clear cooperation does not apply, you click the box. Make sure that you read all the pages on the clear cooperation from the National Association of Realtors, okay? It is very complicated to the point that I don't like to explain it here because I'm having a hard time understanding. What if, and that's the clear cooperation. It has to do with a big lawsuit on multiple listing services, okay? So stay away from that. You know, it always apply. We sign up, we are gonna take a listing and we're gonna cooperate with everybody to get the property sold. We're not selfish, okay? MLS data on the internet. We are going to put the property on the internet. That's what we tell the sellers. You're hiring me for full services. I am gonna put the property not only on the internet, I'm gonna put it on the SpaceX, whatever. I'm gonna do everything to get your property sold for the most money. In the event that the seller wants to opt out, there are opt out in the MLS, but we don't want them to opt out, right? And if the seller doesn't want a Zillow, doesn't want Trulia, then you have to do that. You opt out for internet features, right? But when you click there, there will be a form, SELI, that needs to be filled in and signed by the sellers. And they have to understand, and you have to understand what that means, right? So if you don't understand a form, don't make the client sign it, okay? You need to understand the form and what's the form for. That's why every form on the bottom of the page has the name, and you could always call the hotline. You could always come to me, go to your managers and ask, what does this form is for? Okay, you could also go to Form Tutor, and Form Tutor at CAR will explain what the form is for, okay? Seller representation, the seller make representation that he is not aware of notices of default that are recorded against the property, that there is no delinquent amounts on loans, right? That no litigation, no lawsuits affecting the property. Now, number 10 is your job. Broker agreed to exercise reasonable effort. You're gonna do everything to get this property sold. And you're asking the seller to pay for some disclosures. At the time of the listing, we don't ask the seller. In some areas, you might request the seller to do a pest control, a termite control. You could also ask him to do a home inspection and then fix everything that is on the home inspection. Or you can ask the seller to pay for the homeowners association documentation at the time of the listing and get those papers up front, okay? That's what this is, investigations reports of the property. Deposit, we do not collect a deposit, but it's part of the purchase agreement that the broker is authorized to take a deposit on seller's behalf. We don't do that. We want the buyer to put the money into escrow. Disclosure regarding agency, there has an X, we already gave it to them, they already signed it. The seller represent, broker shall represent the seller in any resulting transaction, okay? Possible dual agency with the buyer. We're telling them that we work with a big company and they may be somebody in Arcadia, in Alhambra, in Puente that is already working with a buyer that brings the buyer. They will represent the buyer. We represent the seller. Therefore, we are dual agents, okay? And there will be a form to be signed by that. The confirmation of agency will be done on the purchase agreement, okay? That's where we do buyer's agent, seller's agent, buyer's broker, seller's broker, and you check the boxes, okay? Make sure that you do that. There is a possible representation more than one buyer or seller who has an X. The form has already been signed by the client. We tell the seller, security, insurance, showings, make sure that if you have audio or video that you have a sign that says that, hey, smile, you're in candid camera. We are gonna take photos. We're gonna put your house on the internet, right? So do not, if you check it, it is not agreed by the client to put on the MLS and to put on the internet. But then if you don't put on the internet, you're not gonna get as much money, Mr. Seller. But there may be cases where you need to do that. 99.99%, we do not check the box. The same thing goes here. We do not check the box because we want to put every listing in the multiple listing service, right? Lockbox, same thing. We want the sellers to give us permission to put a lockbox. If the seller says, I don't want a lockbox, then you have to check the box that says, I do not authorize the broker to put a lockbox. And that's fine, but, or a sign. But I think it's stupid if you do not put a sign for sale. You have to put a sign for sale unless there are some circumstances. But everybody knows that a house is out for sale because it's on Zillow, it's on Trulia. People start driving by and people say, well, why are you driving by? Well, the house out for sale, right? Equal housing opportunity, I don't have to repeat it. Everybody that has green money can buy this house. Attorney's fees, the same thing. In the event of a fight, the attorney that wins is entitled to reasonable payment, right? There is more forms that you can attach, right? Just like I said, more branches to the tree. If this is an REO, if this is a short sale, you do that, okay? Mediation, arbitration, right? You have to initial that form. Arbitration advisory form needs to be done, okay? Between the seller and us. Ownership, the seller is warranting that he has the power to sell the property. We have no way of doubting. In the event that you want to know who are the sellers, you get your property profile from your favorite title person, and then you know who is on title. And everybody on title should be signing here. Sally and Sam and Suki, everybody that is on that property profile should sign the form, okay? And then you should sign the form as well, okay? And you have to have your license there. If there is two agents, then there is two agents signing over here. You know, Caesar will be here and Doug Meyer will be here, and Doug and I are sharing this listing. That's how it goes on the residential listing agreement. Now, if there are two agents, you do have to have another form called additional agent disclosure. And the client needs to know that there's gonna be two agents working for him, all righty? And if in the event that you got a divorce and the wife hires C21 and the husband hires Coldwell Banker George Realty, there is a form that says additional brokerage acknowledgement. And we have to have that form signed by everybody so that way the buyer, I mean, the husband knows that there is other brokers, and the everybody knows that there's two brokers. There we go. Two brokers right there. Two brokers with different companies are co-listing the property. The co-listing broker information is on the attached additional broker acknowledgement form, ABA. That form needs to be done if you are co-listing with another company. Coldwell Banker George Realty will allow that. Please make sure that you notified your manager and make sure that that is okay. Okay, so that will be the residential listing agreement. Then there is a seller's advisory. This have to be signed. It is just mumble jumble to tell the client that they are going to be signing a TDS, that they're going to be signing an NHD, that they're going to be signing an earthquake, earthquake safety form. All of that information is written in here. So it shouldn't be any problem, to get that information from them. When there is motivation, there's cooperation. If the seller wants to sell, they will give you everything you ask for. When the seller doesn't want to help you and give you something, then they're not motivated to sell. And it's hard to do business with people that don't want to do business with. But that's up to you. If you like to have a difficult clients, it's up to you. Be my guest. I like to have easy clients. If they want to sell, I take the listing. If they don't want to sell, forget them, okay? If they want to buy, I work with them. If they don't want to buy, tough luck. They can be renters for the rest of their life. I don't care, I know that if you buy a house, you're going to be rich 5, 10, 20 years from now. But if you want to be a tenant for the rest of your life, be my guest. I will explain to you the benefits of homeownership, but I cannot force you to become a homeowner if you don't want to. That's my philosophy. So choose your customers. If they don't want to buy, don't put them in your car. Don't show them any houses. This one came out without a date. Make sure that you put a date. All the forms supposed to have a date. Make sure that all the forms are signed by the seller and initialed by the seller. They're also signed by you and initialed by you if it requires that. The other form is this one, California Consumer Privacy Act. It is mandatory that you do it at the time of taking the listing. So the day of the form should be the same day as you take the listing, right? So it's about 11:30 and I've gone very fast with the listing agreement. It is a permission to put the property at for sale, right? There are 3 ways to make money in real estate, 1 or 4. 1, you represent the buyer, right? So if you represent the buyer, you're gonna get paid. If you represent a seller, the seller can sign 3 agreements with you. One of them is called commission agreement, and I'm gonna go and get it, right? I'm gonna go to all forms and I'm gonna put here commission. It's called commission agreement, right? This is a form, it's been added to it. It's called commission agreement. This one says, if I sell your home, the principal broker, Coldwell Banker George Realty, oh, this is the seller, agrees to pay Coldwell Banker George Realty 6%, right, of the selling price. And the property, if I sell your property for $950,000, right? There it is. It's a contract, you pay me. Now I let them know that there's benefits to take a listing and put it on the MLS. You might get more money if you give me a listing and we put it on the MLS. So the seller signed here and I sign here, and then we get all that information. This is commission agreement. If I sell the property, I get paid. That's it. This does not give me permission to put it on the MLS, does not give me permission to put a Craigslist ad, to put a WeChat ad. You cannot advertise this property for sale. You have no permission to do so. You only said, if I sell your house, I get paid. That's it. We don't use this form unless it's already, you talk to the seller and you say, I got a buyer that's looking for your house just like you are. The other one is the listing agreement that we just did. And the other one is called single party compensation. I believe it's single party compensation agreement. Okay, the single party compensation agreement is the other way. This one is what you would use in the event that there is a for sale by owner. And you said, bring me a buyer and I'll pay you commission. And you said, okay, Mr. Seller, I am gonna bring you a buyer, Miss Seller, right? You're gonna pay Coldwell Banker George Realty. Okay, if I sell your property in Alhambra on Garfield and you're gonna pay me, right, my 6%. This is supposed to be an X. How come? There we go. Oop. Okay, you're gonna pay me 6%. Oh, no, I wanna pay you less, whatever. So 6% of the sales price. If you accept an offer from, and you need to put here the name of the buyer that you're gonna be bringing. If Betty Buyer buys your house, Mr. For Sale by Owner Sally, you pay me 6%. Is that okay? Yes. You better bring the person between today and Sunday. Let's say I got till the 15th on Monday to bring you. During that time, I will bring you a transaction. Then I get paid. And the same thing, we tell the seller that there are benefits on putting the property on the MLS. Mr. Seller, you're gonna get more money if you put it on the MLS. I initial over here, and then broker will act as agent for the buyer exclusively. You let them know that you're not representing them. Or if you pay me, Mr. Seller, I will be representing both you and them. Or I will be representing the buyer only, okay? So make sure that you are explaining this agency to that for sale by owner You're only paying me 2%. Let's say that they go like this. You're going to pay me 2%. If I bring you a buyer, I'll pay you 2%. Yes, I'll take the 2%, but I will be the buyer's agent only. Okay? I am not going to prepare your forms. I'm not going to do anything for you. You're going to earn your money, Mr. Seller. Okay. So you go to the escrow company, any disclosures, the seller will have to prepare themselves. Okay. Same thing, equal housing opportunity. This does not give you the right to go and market the property. Okay. And of course, when you do this, you have to sign the fair housing and all the forms that are attached to the documentation, because for the politicians, this is more important than your behavior. They want the form signed. Doesn't matter what you do. They just want to have the form signed in your file. Okay. So let me stop sharing. Any questions so far? I got a question that says, if the seller is a trust, we need to put the trust name in the seller side. That is correct. And the way to do it is the following, right? Let me go to the transaction. I'm going to share my screen again. So that way I'm going to show you where do you do it, right? So I'm going to share my screen. I am going to go out of here. I'm going to go to, and hopefully it will not sign up automatically. So I am going to go to zip form, and I'll tell you exactly where you're going to put it. So when you're creating your transaction, okay, it's going to go to my transaction. I skipped this page. We did pay already, as I told you. I am going to be writing a new transaction. So it's going to be a new transaction. It's going to be a new listing, right? And then here is where I am going to put the name of the property address, 4567 Main Street, right? In Alhambra. It's going to be a residential, commercial, whatever kind of transaction. I am the agent. I go to my templates, right? I'm going to go to the listing, whatever template you're doing. And when I go to the template, I save my transaction. And as I go to the beginning, the people in the transaction, who are the parties? And remember that when you're doing a trust, the trust is a company or an entity, right? So I'm going to go here to the parties. Who is involved in the transaction, right? The listing agent, that's me. And the seller number one is going to be over here, ABC Trust. This is where you put the information, right? If it is too long, you could always put ABC Trust, dated 12/12/1985, whatever name of the trust, all of this is going to be there, you know, Alhambra Partners, whatever information, right? Then the email of the trust, you can do that information. And here, look, see this? Signing representative. This is where, you know, Bob or Mary or whoever is going to be signing on behalf of the trust. And when you do this and you put save, whatever I wrote over here is what's going to be in my forms, right? So I'm going to go to the documents, and let's say that I'm going to go to my my listing agreement. And when I go to my listing agreement, I will see this. Let me make it big. Do you see this that I put in? It will have ABC Trust dated blah, 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 Alhambra. That's who the seller is, right? And over here, the person signing is going to be Miss Smith. It doesn't matter that Miss Smith's name is not down here, right? So when you go to the listing, fair housing, the same thing, right? ABC Trust is the person that is then, and the seller, you can put, you know, Mary Smith, possible representation, Mary Smith. And then remember that when you're using a representative capacity, there's going to be a form, right? I'm going to go back to the transaction, and there's going to be one that is called seller's representative capacity. And then when you do that, it's going to say the seller is ABC Trust, dated blah, blah, blah. And over here is going to be Mary Smith or Bob or whatever, right? You know, the representative name, Mary. And Mary Smith is either the executor, whatever it has to be on that case. Got it? So I hope that that answered your question. Anybody has a question? Very quiet, huh?
Well, Caesar, this is Clint. I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Regarding to the listing agreement you just had a little while ago, the day you put on the contract is today's date, right?
That's the day that I prepare the contract.
The document. Correct. And the seller signs it today, but the listing agreement starts Monday.
Correct.
There will be no problem. I mean,
no problem.
But why don't you put a starting date, the contract starting date as today instead of Monday?
I could if I wanted to, but maybe the client don't want to do it today. They want to put it on Monday because on Monday, maybe I don't have enough time to prepare all my paperwork. So I don't want to have a violation. And then on Monday, I give all the paperwork to the receptionist and my listing coordinator.
I see. So if you put it on Monday, how many days do I have to put it on MLS? 1 day or 2 days?
Tuesday.
Thank you.
You got it. You have 24 hours from the moment that the listing starts to put on the MLS.
Thank you.
Any question? Any questions about anything? I mean, remember that you guys are a company within a company. You guys have to go out and prospect. I sent to the people in Arcadia and the people in Alhambra today an email regarding Proposition 19. I think it's a great idea. So what I did of it, I'm gonna share my screen also, and go over a couple of things that it was on that form. So where was it? Where was it? Let me share, and let me see if I can. Yeah. This one, if you go to the California Association of Realtors, there is a whole things about getting the facts, and I email you something. This one it tells you about Proposition 19, the benefits, right? And it says, remove the location and price restrictions on property tax transfer for anybody that is 55 years old or is disabled or victims of wildfire or natural disasters, and allow them to transfer the property tax base of their existing home to a new location anywhere in California, regardless of the price. So here's the deal. You may have a house in Monterey Park and your property taxes, right, are $3,000. You bought this house a long time ago and you sell that property, right, for $1 million. And you go and buy a condominium in Arcadia for $1 million. The taxes on that new house could have been $10,000, right? 1% of $1 million is $10,000. But hello, you are carrying your old taxes from Monterey Park and you take them to Arcadia and you are $3,000 in property taxes. Is that a benefit or not? Yes. So that is what happens to somebody that is 55 years or older. So guys, make sure this is gonna create a housing opportunity. Okay, if you guys are not talking about this with every human being that you talk about, then you're gonna have problems because this is gonna be starting April the 1st, okay? Now, get the facts so that way you can use the form right here. Look at it. Property tax based transfer, they begin on April 1. And there are forms, right? So you go, where is the application? Right there, you need to apply for that, right? So when you fill in and you buy the house in Arcadia, you need to tell the government, hey, I sold my property in Monterey Park. My taxes were in Monterey Park, $3,000. It says download the fact sheet, right? So this is the fact sheet that I sent to everybody, the benefits and how to apply for it. So if you don't have a copy of this, you should put a copy of this, put your name right up here, your name, and say, hey, is this something that it benefits you? Is this something that you can benefit from? call me. And some of the people that are 55 and over may be living in a big house and they want to go to a small house, but because of the taxes, they don't move. Now, because of the property taxes, if I can carry the same taxes from my Monterey Park house to San Marino, if you can buy a house in San Marino, right, then do it. So if I can sell in Monterey Park and go to San Francisco, take your taxes there. You know, but who would want to live in San Francisco with all that, you know, drugs in the city? But anyway, that is something that you guys should be talking about with every single person. The benefits of Proposition 19, you can carry your property taxes. If you bought your house in El Sereno, in Monterey Park, even in San Marino, right? You say, oh my God, if I sell my house and I wanna go to Orange County, to Irvine, I have to pay more taxes in Irvine. Not really. You can carry your old property taxes from your city to anywhere in the state of California. You can go to Eureka, you can go to San Diego, you can go to Lake Tahoe, anywhere in the state, from the north to the Pacific Ocean, from Lake Tahoe to Tijuana. Oh, don't go to Tijuana, stop in San Diego, okay? That's
San Isidro, actually. That's
San Isidro, yeah, that's correct. Oscar knows because he can detain over there every time. He had to show his papers. I'm just kidding. His green card. And any question, guys?
Nowadays it's pink, I think.
Oh, okay. It's not green anymore.
No.
Okay. Any questions about anything? Remember, real estate is an essential business. You can conduct real estate anywhere. Wash your hands, wear your mask, stay 6 feet apart from each other. Go out and sell a property. The market is very difficult, very tough. The property value is going up, right? As always does. The number of transactions is going down, okay? Because people are stating and they're waiting. I hope that Proposition 19 starts something good for all of us, so there will be more property in the market. And because of the interest rate being low, we should have every single one of us one extra transaction. Any question? You can type it in the chat if you are afraid, or you can speak up. Remember, use this, talk to us. You're gonna be talking to strangers when you go out and solicit business. Talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to everybody that owns a house that is 55 and over. Talk to Oscar, he's 55 yesterday.
Sister, so this applies to anybody, even like if you have a listing right now and it sells on the first of next month, that applies to them too, right?
Yes.
Okay.
If
so
the transfer of the property has to be after April 1st.
Okay, great. That way I can talk to the person, I mean, to my sellers, so that way they can get motivated and sell now.
Right. Make sure that you use the form and make sure that they talk to their tax advisor.
Okay.
Okay. Talk about the law, but don't explain it exactly how it goes, because you're not the person that explains that.
Okay, great. Thank you, sister.
Or maybe you can learn exactly what it is, talk to your own tax advisor, get a cheat sheet from your tax advisor that would explain it, and then you can give it to them and explain, if you sell your house for this much money and you buy a house for this much money, this is a sample. And then they can see it in black and white and say, whoa, if I can sell my house and I can take my property taxes to the next house, hey, why not?
Yeah, that's a really good deal. Yeah, thank you, sister.
It says, we signed the listing agreement today, but the seller property will go to market next month. How to handle the day on listing agreement? Okay, you can have, the issue is days on the market. If you are going to market the property, okay, that is days on the market. You need to exempt from going into the MLS. But if you exempt from going to the MLS and you are showing the property and you're putting an ad in the paper, those are days on the market that should be counted, okay? If you are going to be putting a listing date, beginning day, a month from now will be day 0, but you cannot do anything with that listing. That's what they want you to do. They created the rules so difficult because there were people taking listings, not telling anybody about it, right? And they were double ending it. So the other real estate agents, they got upset. Buyers agents, they got upset. And then they created these rules to avoid this. So that if they say that if you belong to the multiple listing service, you are a member of the multiple listing service, you should put every listing within 24 hours of taking the listing. You take it last night, today you input it in the listing, so then all these buyers agents have an opportunity to sell and to make money rather than you being the only one. Now, if you wanted to, because of reasons like painting, fixing the house, nobody can show it, somebody is in the house with coronavirus and you wanna don't let anybody see the house, and no showings, no private open houses, no advertising, then that's how you fill out this form, not to go into the MLS until such a day. And then that's when you start marketing the property. The day of the listing agreement can be today. That way, if the seller sells it, if he talks to his brother and the brother buys it, we are entitled to money. That's what the listing agreement is all about. If the house sells, the listing agent gets paid. Any other question? That was a good question. But there are rules that the realtors put on ourselves. You know, there's code of ethics, there is multiple listing service rules. And that's why they have fines if you don't, if you show a property without following the showing instructions. If you open a lockbox without it, and you find somebody inside the house, and you can be fined $1,500. Okay. So, you need to follow the instructions. Unfortunately, the world is an ugly place and it's getting uglier. Everybody has rules and that, and everybody hates everybody, and half the people, they say it's black, and the other half the people say it's white, and half the people say it's red, and half the people say it's, blue, and half the people want to kill the other half, and it's half and half. And now people are not being friendly like people used to be when I was young. That's something that is happening everywhere, right? The Russians don't like the Chinese don't like the Americans don't like the Mexicans don't like the blue ones don't like the red ones, and it's a mess out there. And unfortunately, that's why the government wants you to fill up a form that says you do not discriminate, black, white, Chinese, immigrant, no immigrant, citizen, no citizen. If you have sex, if you don't have sex, that's the problem, I'm talking just, and I know this is being recorded, and this is just a conversation that I'm having. They're my private opinions, but that's just who I am, an opinionated person.
Yeah, that's good because that's keeping everybody awake.
I have a question again about that showing the houses. I mean,
yes, sir.
Okay, if you have I see they have vacant houses, say go direct, and you go and show it.
But today you still need to use a PEAD form.
Yeah, Pete. Yeah. I understand that. Yeah, okay. I understand that. But the thing is, now if they say somebody goes into the, he tells you to go direct, you send in the PEAD. But then if you use your mailbox, I mean the key, how do they prove that they give you okay to go there, or
well, because but see the instructions that you were following, it says go direct.
Yeah.
So you don't have to call anybody. Go direct. Those are the instructions. So you went direct. But this in the event that says by appointment only, and they have a lockbox key, and you don't make the appointment, and you walk in at 3 o'clock in the morning to the house because he has a lockbox, believe me, they're gonna.
Yeah, that's
right.
Understandable. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. Okay, thanks.
All right, it's 11:56 and it's almost 12 o'clock. I thank every one of you for coming to the meeting. I like participation. If you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. You can send me a text. You can reach me on Facebook, on Twitter. I'm on, any social media that you want. I don't answer to WeChat because Chinese is not my native language. I get confused with WeChat all the time, but if you reach me on WeChat, I still have a WeChat. If you look for me, I have an account. I have an account on Telegram. I have an account on Pinterest, but I do not know how to use it. I'm an old guy. The best way to get a hold of me via email. I read all my emails. I delete everything. I can send you information via email. It's easier for me. I work every day. I don't go home until I finish all my messages. So thank you for your time. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll look forward to see you Monday at 11 o'clock. For those of you that are in Alhambra for the meeting, 1 p.m., there is a CRMLS training. If you don't have the link, let me know. I'll send it to you. And you need to sign up for 1 o'clock class. Very important. Other than that, have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you Monday. Take care.
Thank you very much, Cesar.
Thank you.
Have a nice weekend.